Welcome back to the Hoffmann Homestead. My name is Amber and I'm here to talk to you today about seed starting. I know, everybody's favorite topic right now. If you've never done it before, I highly encourage you give it a shot. It's not as hard as it's made out to be, and it's certainly a great way to save a lot of money. So everybody needs pretty much 5 things to start seeds on their own. If you're not in a place where you can start seeds and you're getting plant starts, first of all, there's nothing wrong with that. Even though I start seeds, I still buy plant starts. In fact, a lot of my reused containers are from Bonnie's because that's what I get whenever I get starts, because that's what everybody has. So if you can't start seeds, it's not a big deal. You can get your plant starts. I just don't have that kind of budget, so like, good for you. But we're gonna start seeds over here because that's much more feasible for the size of my garden and the budget that I do have. I just realized you can see snow on that tree and it's disgusting. I hate the snow so much. I just want the garden. Okay, so 5 things that you need. Let's get into it. First of all, you need space. You need some kind of space, whether it's indoors or in an outdoor heated greenhouse if you're in an area where it gets too cold, or even, some people can start seeds outside depending on where you're at. It's too cold for me here to start them outside, unless you're doing something like winter sowing, which is not something I've explored yet. But find yourself a space wherever it's going to be feasible, wherever the plants are going to thrive. You want it to be kind of warm. Your seeds will germinate faster if you've got a warmer area. I have a heater in my my front room. It's our front porch technically that we've absorbed as part of the house. And, we keep a heater out here to make sure that it stays at least 60 degrees, though frankly, it's probably like 65 in here right now. It got pretty hot in here a couple weeks ago, so we turned it down. So somewhere that's going to be warm, and depending on your situation, maybe somewhere that it gets enough light. This is my first year using grow lights as a part of my seed starting setup because I had a pretty tough time last year with the window that it was in. But if you've got a good window with good sunlight coming through it, you may not even need grow lights. So check your space. Do you have enough space? Where is that space? And do you have light in that space if you're planning on going without a grow light, which is not one of the 5 things, by the way. You can also use like a foldable table. I have a fold-out table, one of those white Thanksgiving tables. You break them out for Thanksgiving and put them away for the rest of the year. I've got one of those for the rest of my seed starting stuff. So it can be somewhere that's not permanent. It could be something that's permanent, whatever you got. I'll walk you through my seed starting setup at the end of this video so you can kind of see what I'm working with, but there's plenty of options. You don't need much. Second thing you're going to need is containers. You can't grow things if you don't have somewhere to put them in. Now, if you're doing something like soil blocking, you're still going to need a container, a tray of sorts to hold it in. So go through the different options. There are plenty of options out there. You can get a soil blocker and do something like that. Not something I've experienced with, but if you're into that kind of thing, go for it. You could reuse things. Last year I started all of my tomatoes and peppers in red Solo cups with like holes poked in the bottom. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. You can reuse containers from store-bought starts. So if maybe this year you've got to get starts, but next year you want to try starting your own seeds, save those containers so you can save yourself some money. You can also get things like this dude. I think this was at Lowe's for like $6 or something like that. It's got a humidity dome. This guy, it's got some cells in it, and it's got a bottom tray to contain, your water and whatnot. I've got a lot of those that I've gotten in previous years that I just reuse. So these are all things that I've bought over the last 2, this will be the 3rd year. So yeah, 2 years of a bunch of trays that I'm reusing, a bunch of these guys that you can reuse. I even got a couple of those trays that had like square containers in them for bigger plants. You can also go on Amazon and get like a big stack of containers for pretty cheap. They're not too expensive. And then of course, reused containers like Bonnie plants. I like the Bonnie containers because they're pretty hefty. These that I got on Amazon are pretty like paper thin, not fantastic. So they're like a 1 year use and done, and I don't love that. So yeah, find something, use some red Solo cups. If you are someone that has regular get-togethers, let them use red Solo cups, save yourself some dishes, and then you can reuse those red Solo cups, wash them out, poke some holes on the bottom, and use them for seed starting. So you've immediately got 2 uses out of them. Even more if you reuse those red Solo cups. I don't know where mine went, but problem for another day. All right, third, and it's pretty important. You need soil. You need some kind of medium to grow your seeds in. I said soil, that's not entirely correct, and we'll go into the why that's wrong in a different video, but you need a growing medium, whether that's seed starting mix or potting soil, or I think some people just start it in like the core stuff. What is that? Cocoa core? Stuff like that. I personally use a potting mix. I actually use this one. So you can use a potting mix. I like potting mix because the items that I start in it are typically in there a while, and I'm a lazy gardener and I don't want to have to go through and feed them nutrients because the seed starting mix that they are in doesn't have any. So the potting mix comes with some nutrients and keeps them going for a little longer, and that's just what I prefer. So you can absolutely do a potting mix. You may have to sift out some of the bigger chunks, which I imagine we've talked about in another video, and we'll probably talk about it in another video. But there's plenty of options out there. Seed starting mix is a finer mix than potting soil and doesn't have a bunch of those chunks in there, so it's easier for definitely some of the more delicate seeds to get through. So pick what you want to go for. It depends on, again, your goals and what you're trying to do in your garden. You make the rules, my dude. So pick a medium for you. Number 4, you're going to need some kind of water source, like a water bottle of some sort. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. People go crazy with them, and you'd be shocked how expensive it is to get a dang spray bottle specifically meant for gardening. Like, I would almost recommend you just go to Walmart and go to like the hair section and get one of those dollar spray bottles, because the second they slap on gardening spray bottle, it's like $8. It's ridiculous. Go to Dollar Tree, get yourself a spray bottle, or you can get fancy like me and use a pitcher for bottom watering some of your larger trays. And when you're getting real fancy, I use an old Body Armor bottle with some holes poked in the top, because it's real quick to like shake it a couple times and water the top, and like it worked. It works for me for a while. So work with what you got. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. You can upgrade eventually, right? Like, use a couple water bottles until you get to a place where you've got that extra $7 for a ridiculously priced spray bottle. Okay, number 5, and arguably the most important thing, though you can't do it without every other thing, almost every other thing. Seeds. You need seeds. You can't grow nothing if you don't have it. So you're gonna grow nothing if you don't have it. Whatever. So you need seeds. It could be from the Dollar Tree, it can be from Lowe's, or you can go online and buy them from various seed companies. I've personally started buying seeds online because I get a better variety than I do in the stores. And my personal favorite, MI Gardener, they have $2 seed packs, and the amount of seeds in those packs are perfect for the home gardener. You don't get 1,000 seeds and spend $6 on like a cool tomato. You can get that cool tomato, get 25 seeds, which is perfect for the average home gardener to have for a year or two. And it's $2. Or go in with a friend or a neighbor and, split the bill and split the seeds. Then you'll have enough seeds for your garden. They'll have enough for their garden, and you paid half the price. Then you got $1 per seed that you want to grow. So check out your options. I have found that I prefer something like MI Gardener because of that variety. We all know that, the big box stores are going to carry pretty much the same thing from store to store. Some may have a little bit of variety, but not much. So take a look, see what your options are. There's plenty of things out there, so work with what you got. If you can only make it to a Dollar Tree, go to a Dollar Tree. You'll get plenty of seeds there that you can do plenty with. They've got probably every vegetable, well, just about every vegetable that you would want to grow anyway. So start at the Dollar Tree if you need to. Try out MI Gardener if you want to. I'm not affiliated by any means. I just love them, and I think they're a fantastic option for the home gardener on a budget. So do with that what you will. On that note, let's check out my seed starting setup. Okay, so here's my seed starting station. I've got one of those white fold up tables. I call it a Thanksgiving table. So my Thanksgiving table, and this is where I do my potting. It's too cold for me. I am frost tender, so I don't go outside to do this stuff. I'm gonna do it right here, and I'm gonna vacuum up the mess later. I've got some containers that I'm working with. I bought a couple of these this year just to add to my whatnot, because I'm starting a lot more seeds this year than I have previously. I have one container here that's got some potting mix in it. That's for whenever I'm filling these guys up, I can just kind of scoop it in there and not make a huge mess, though you can tell I already make a mess. My poor aloe, that's just, he's trying. He's really trying. I'm bad at succulents. It's fine. My mess, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. And then we've got my shelf. So on my shelf, I do have some lights. You can see right around here. I was gonna do about one per shelf, but I didn't like the coverage, so I'm gonna do 2 per shelf, and I just need to buy 4 more. But this is like I think it's like $80 usually, the rack, and I get it at Target, but I usually get it on sale. So I usually get it for around $70, and it's a good, 5-tier shelf, good size, holds the lights perfectly. If I turn the trays right, I could probably fit a good 20 trays on there, which is a lot of seedlings. I've got a fan in here for when things get larger, so they can it can blow on them and strengthen up the stems a little bit. I've also got a heater. This keeps it warm in here because this room gets particularly cold. It's not heated with my house. That's for YouTube. Don't mind that. But anyway, so everything's plugged into this little dude at the bottom. Every morning I come in and turn this guy on, which turns on my lights. And then every night I turn it off, which turns off my lights and puts the babies to bed. So we've got a lemon tree here at the bottom, which is doing phenomenal ever since I put it under this light, because it's very gloomy here in Illinois, so it was sad. We've got some lettuce seedlings that I desperately need to up pot, but look at how just gorgeous that is. I want to eat it. I mean, I'm gonna, but look at that freckles romaine. Beautiful. We got some spinach, some asparagus, but all of that's just chilling under there, getting huge, begging for me to up pot it into something so it has more space. And then we've got a couple other up here, I just put these guys in a tray so I can move them easily and I can bottom water. I don't like to water from the top because I don't know if you can see, but I've got some like green going on the tops of these. I'm still working on my moisture control and I'm not great at it, as you can tell. Oh, look at that little asparagus. Okay. I've got a humidity dome that I use, well, I've got a couple of them that I use for whenever seedlings are little babies. But of course, once they're bigger, I don't want the leaves to stay super wet. So they're just doing their own thing. But yeah. Last year, my seed starting setup was pretty much that table and those containers in a window that size. As you can imagine, it didn't go very well, but we tried. You're sitting a little cattywampus, but it's going to be fine. Anyway, yeah. So start some seeds this year if you want to. And if you don't want to, all right, well, thanks for coming anyway. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I'll see if I can help you guys out. And just remember, doesn't matter if you don't have much, you can start. You can start it. You may work your way up to a shelf and some grow lights like I did this year, but you can start with some solo cups and some, cheap soil potting mix and some Dollar Tree seeds. That's exactly where I started. And it's worth it. It's worth trying with less, using your resources, being more resourceful. It's so worth it. And as time goes on, you can get more if you need to. I wish you guys happy gardening and the best of luck. Thanks for coming. And hopefully you come back, hit that like button, subscribe, comment down below, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.